Howdy, folks. So I thought I'm going to take a quick break from work. So I thought, you know what? Let's just have a fancy a live. See who's online at late night. There's about 440 people of my friends online. So I thought I'm taking a little break because I've just finished one big job and I got to move on to the next thing. So I thought I'd take a little break and we can talk about anything. Pigeons, life, whatever else comes up. I had a good weekend. I was covering Gary Tomlinson's Who Dares Wins one-off race. Yesterday it was the first hotspot race, and it was really good. It was good for a few things, actually, because I took my partner with me, my girlfriend, and it was her first time ever actually seeing birds race or fly even. And so that was good for her to see. It was good for her to see birds fly, and she was fascinated. And it was good because it made her realize why I'm so keen on the sport and why I'm so fascinated by it. I also took my youngest son as well, who's always been interested, and he was asking Gary a lot of questions, and Gary, being the type of guy he is, was only too pleased to answer. And so he is so my son Alexander's all pumped up and can't wait until we start keeping birds again. And so I did a Facebook Live from there, and we were lucky enough that our bird came in third. I only have one single entry into his race, which is one of Gary's pigeons, actually one of his venture pigeons. And she's still there, and she came in third, which was really good. I was just pleased that she came back, and I will be ecstatic if she gets to the final race. So, see who else we got. Got a lot of people on. What's your thoughts on feeding pigeons day before a race? I've seen so many people say no, some say yes. Dave, I'm not an expert enough to answer it. All I'll base it on is that I know Gary fed the birds the day before the race. Obviously, this was only a short race. It was only a 55-miler. And those birds seemed to come home really quick. I mean, it was obviously only a 55-mile race, and the first birds got back in 49 minutes. So I don't feel qualified enough, if I'm honest, to answer it properly. There's many more people out there that are more experts and can tell you or could answer that question better. I mean, obviously, logically, it depends on what distance the race is and all of that stuff. But I know Gary said yesterday he fed the birds about 10:30 on the Saturday morning, and I believe that was the last time they were fed. But again, it was only a 55-mile race, so they seem to rock it home. It'd be interesting to see what Gary does. I'll ask him actually what he does, what his routine will be before they go to the final race in France. Yeah. So I'm going to. Hey Jose, I hope you're well, mate. I'm going to Dublin a week on Saturday. I fly to go and be and cover Sean Hunt's Wild Atlantic Way one-off race over in Dublin. So I'm going there. I'm leaving Saturday. The race is Sunday, all being well, and then I'll be in Dublin until Monday, and then I'm going further down south. No worries, Dave. Further down south, and I'm going to go and spend a day with Sheldon. I'm also taking my youngest son there as well. It's good at the moment because he's on summer holidays, so he can come around with his dad a little bit without having to worry about school. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm back to Gary's Who Dares Wins final on the 25th of August. I'm going to be covering that. I had some problems yesterday with the video, the Facebook Live. I use one of these things. I use one of these. It's like a gimbal thing to steady the picture. Put your phone in that and it steadies it. But I've actually changed phones. I upgraded my main phone. My main phone is ultimately heavier. So it caused a few problems. So apologies to people yesterday. It wasn't up to my normal quality I'd expected myself, the Facebook Live yesterday, but I'm looking at a better solution to this thing, which I'm going to have in place for Sean's race over in Dublin. So the video should be smoother. Also, I put a close-up video of the birds coming in yesterday as well. I actually got a load of great photos from that. I took 8 minutes of the birds coming in, and I did a program where it got 300 pictures in that 8 minutes from it, and some really good shots of the birds flying in, some really good action shots, which I'm going to put some of the best ones online. So yeah, Corey, you're going to do an iSign video with Brian, mate. I already have done the interview with Brian, Corey. I don't know if you saw that already. My plans with Brian is subject to him being well enough. I will go back up and see him because just for my own selfish reasons, I love spending time with that man. And thank you to Johnny McWhirter for introducing me and setting that interview up. What I'm going to try and do, and I haven't had time to do it yet, is I'm going to try and get hold of Nigel Llewellyn. I've spoken to Nigel twice already. And I was speaking to Brian about this. Now, Brian rates Nigel as probably he does rate him as the best iSign guy out there at the moment. And what I'd like to do is, obviously it's not possible to get them both in the same room. It's not something Brian can do. And I wouldn't ask Nigel to come up and what have you. Well, it would be great. I mean, maybe he would, I don't know. But what I definitely want to do as a minimum, if Nigel will do it, is I want to do an interview with Nigel, combine that with the interview and Brian, and maybe another interview if he's well enough. And then Brian has got about 300 pictures of eyes, pigeon eyes. And then I'm going to work with Johnny to get the descriptions, what birds they are, and the descriptions of those eyes. And I'm going to combine all of that. So at least the interview from Brian, the interview with Nigel, and all of the eyes together, I'm going to put that into a video format. And we're going to put that out there to share the information. I've got the DVD with the eyes on. There's about 300 eyes that Johnny McWhirter sent me down. But they're just eyes, and they need descriptions, and they need people to be told what they are. So working with Johnny on that, hopefully get Nigel on board to do something as well, and we'll put it all together into a video format that makes sense, and then we'll put that out there as well. So hope that answers your question, Corey, and thank you for joining. I'm aware of David. I'm aware of Mark Caldwell in Doncaster. I have been aware of him for years, even before. Obviously, he's been around for a while, a long while, and I'm aware of him. I was aware of him before I rejoined this whole game of pigeons earlier on in this year, and he's certainly on my list. I actually have a spreadsheet of people that I want to work with, interview, talk to, get to know, and Mark is up there on that list. So yeah, he's somebody that I want to look up because obviously he's a big player in the game, and like you say, those Stefan Reep family he's got are amazing. I was shocked and slightly disappointed to see that Mark Evans is selling his national winners. I understand why he's doing it. He's going to focus on the younger team. I was disappointed because the timing's too early for me to even consider trying to get any of them national winners. Those would be ideal to go into a stud, which is ultimately my end goal. So that's why I was disappointed. I wasn't disappointed for any other non-selfish reasons. But I see the auctions being on the 5th, I think it is, of September. Sometime in September anyway. I saw that out there today. Feel free to share this, by the way, if you feel inclined to share the live video. Always share my stuff. And if you happen to hear me, like me talk, and see whatever lives I do, you can hit the notify button that you should see on this, and it will notify you anytime that I'm live in future. We had some people asking about accessing the live yesterday that I did, and for the final of Gary's race, I'll be definitely posting it into his group. I actually had a problem sharing it into the group. I don't know why it wouldn't let me do it, but I'm going to get my son set up to be able to share it into the group as I'm live. And we're going to make sure it's live into the Who's Dares Wins group as I'm live for the final. There may be a couple of lives going on there because obviously I want to be live for when the birds come back, but we don't exactly know when the birds come back due to it obviously being a lot longer race. So we will do our best, and I'm going to get this thing replaced and sorted out because I was really pissed off yesterday that it let me down. It's never let me down, but it's because my phone is heavier and it can't handle the weight. And I could use my old phone for it, but the camera and the video is not as good as the new one. So I'm looking at an alternative solution. I shall practice with it before I go to Ireland. But that's what makes the videos a lot smoother rather than you see me moving around with the phone. This thing has previously helped a lot, but I'll get it sorted. So apologies for anybody that got a bit of a headache watching that Facebook Live yesterday. Right in the middle of it. Wasn't a lot I could do about it. So yeah, apart from that, I'm still planning to go to China in November. I have a big list of flyers that I want to see of all different types in England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. I very much plan to go and do loft visits to as many people as I can, just as time permits. The focus for me at the moment, pigeon-wise, is getting this free advertising, classifieds advertising site finished, which is done. A couple of more things on the Racing Pigeon Network to do. And we're working on the sales and auction system for Racing Pigeon International as well. That's kind of my online focus at the moment. And then outside of that, my actual main job, which is all this crap you can see in the background, I'm working on a new system for my Bitcoin brokerage business as well, which is busy. So it's busy old time at the moment. I'm still planning to go to Romania, although realistically that trip's going to be pushed back now because I'll be going with my girlfriend, and she starts a new job in September. We would normally go in September. We went in September last year, but I think it's probably going to be pushed back to the end of October, and I've got a list of people that I want to go and see in Romania as well. Romania is a fascinating place. Forget pigeons for a minute. It's a fascinating place as a country, but then you throw pigeons into it, it's even more fascinating because there's a lot of flyers over there and they're really passionate, and there's some really good Sorry, I got somebody trying to call me. There's a really good nucleus of people over in Romania. Romania, for people that don't know, it's a mountainous place. Give me a second. I'll just it's a mountainous place. So some of those birds flying the longer distances, they have some big terrain they have to go over. Sorry. So yeah, it's let me just see if I can do this. I got somebody wanting to be tagged in on the call, but I don't actually think I can do that from this computer. Demande, Loft El Arobi. What does that mean, mate? I don't know. If I'm being thick, I apologize. I don't know what that means. So yeah, Romania, end of October, all being well. China, end of November. And then we hit silly season, which is Christmas. I'm not a big Christmas fan myself. Just 1 second. Sorry, can't multitask. Typical man. Typical. I can type while I do something else, but I can't think, type, and talk while I do something else. So yeah, that's kind of busy time. And in addition to that, launching the sales and auction stuff in September. Be doing the first online charity auction for my foundation, Music is Life, which I talked about last week a bit. Still looking for more birds for that. We've got 16 birds pledged at the moment. So if you know anybody or yourself are watching this and you would like to donate a bird, Music is Life, really briefly, is a non-profit foundation that I set up. If you go to musicislife.org, you'll see it. And it's basically using the power of music to help people with mental health issues and depression. I've said publicly before that I've suffered from that. For me, music is a massively powerful thing for me. There's kind of a soundtrack to every part of my life. And we're not looking to reinvent the... Oh, Scrooge, Shane, yeah. I am a bit of a one. I'm better than I used to be. I'll come on to why I don't like Christmas in a minute. We're not looking to reinvent the wheel with Music is Life. There's already charities out there that do a very good job of supporting people who actually know what they're talking about. All I ever come from is my own personal experiences with this shit and this depression stuff in the past. So ultimately, Music is Life is the vision for it is to get people who perhaps wouldn't necessarily talk about it in a normal sense, but through the power of music gets them help. That's as far as we go really with it, in that we just engage people into how helpful music can be. But then the real work behind that is ultimately the charities that we support. So ultimately, Music is Life supports 4 charities, and 3 of them are directly related to mental health, and 1 is linked. In my opinion, it's linked. So the first one is Mind, which here in the UK is a really good mental health charity, which does really good work. The second one is a lesser known charity, actually, called Blurt It Out. And Blurt It Out specifically works. Their key thing is, in addition to supporting people, they support people, they have phone lines and what have you, but their kind of core focus, in addition to any direct assistance they give people with mental health, is that they are working towards getting rid of this stigma of mental health, which I'll come back to in a minute. The third charity is the Samaritans, and we all know what great work they do. And like I've said before, if I hadn't got such a great group of friends and family around me in the past, I would have been someone that would have needed to perhaps have talked to somebody at the Samaritans before. And, you know, as you probably know, they're available 24/7 for anybody to talk to without judgment. So they're a great charity that helps people. And then the fourth charity that it supports is not directly, obviously, a mental health charity, but it's shelter. I mean, it still amazes me that we have people that don't want to be homeless, that are homeless in this country in this day and age. Obviously, there are some people out there that choose to be homeless, and that's absolutely fine. But those people that wouldn't choose to be, that completely blows my mind. And I think there's a direct link in a lot of cases with homelessness and mental health and depression, and in addition to a bunch of other potential issues as well. It's only one element. So one of the that's the fourth charity that Music is Life supports. So essentially, for every pound that is made, that is got in donations and charity sales like this charity auction, it will get split equally to all four of those charities. Just coming back to the stigma side of it, you know, there still is a stigma with mental health, still is a stigma with depression. I've experienced it myself. And it's funny, you know, that the pigeon guys, the pigeon crew, are predominantly made of, you know, guys. But actually, when I look through my Facebook timeline, ultimately there are a few of those guys that are suffering. Some of them choose to talk about it in public, and some of them don't. And I've had a few people message me privately thanking me for talking about it, but they haven't said anything publicly. And that's always the thing that amazes me with it. And if you know, some people, if you had a broken leg, some people would choose to broadcast it on Facebook. But more people would be inclined to say, damn, I broke my leg, rather than my mind's a bit broke. And I think there's been massive advances in the last 2 years about people talking about it, but we're still nowhere near there. And that's why I chose to support through the foundation, blurt it out, because that's what they're looking to do. And there's other great charities like Calm, the campaign for against living miserably is another big one, but they've got a lot of support from the Royals, and they've got a lot of support there. So they're the four I chose to do. So yeah, that's so if you would like to put a bird in to the charity auction, which is going to be towards the end of September, I'm going to be banging on about that for a while. I'm going to be hitting up some big hitters that I know and being cheeky and asking them for birds for the sale auction. I want it to be a big thing and a good thing. Why I don't like Christmas. Who asked me that? Who called me Scrooge? Yeah, Shane. I just think it's a lot of crap. It's nothing religious in any way. If somebody is religious and they celebrate Christmas for those religious reasons, that's absolutely fine. But the harsh reality is 90% of people that celebrate Christmas are not religious, or specifically very religious. And I just think the whole world goes a little bit mad with it, really. And it's too much hassle, too much cost for a lot of people that can't afford it. And for one day, and then you get that, you know, people get that big come down after, and they get depressed, and then it's New Year, and not a big fan. And from a practical, very Scrooge type point of view, I guess, within business, as soon as the month December comes, that's it. Everybody's on wind down. I've even had people in the first week of Christmas saying to me something couldn't be done because it's Christmas. I'm like, it's not fucking Christmas until I'll give you the 23rd of December, maybe. the first week of December is not Christmas. But anyway, that's only my opinion on Christmas. Chris Davis, yay, I'm live. Oh, you made it. Well done, Chris. So you got the app. You got the Facebook app. Chris was someone that struggled to see me live, but he was actually only accessing Facebook through his browser on his phone, which if you're an iPhone user is Safari, and won't give you the functionality as if you were using the app, the Facebook app. So I told Chris to get the Facebook app, and then you can get a lot more with the live stuff. You can be alerted when somebody that you want to see goes live and all that stuff. So I'm glad you made it, Chris. Stephen, I have one for you. Go for it, mate. Tell me what it is. David Beresford, fair play, Mark. I've been there myself. I think a lot of people battle with it. They do, mate, and it's sad. And I have, I don't mind saying I have since 2006, when my whole world fell apart. My wife left at the time. I was arrested. I was on bail for 14 months. I ended up doing 2 years. 2006 was a horrible, horrible year, and my doctor said if any one thing had happened to you, you'd have probably been fine. But 3 significant things in that year happened, and it fucked me. And only as close to 2 years ago, I was 2 years last February, I was really bad to where I didn't even know what I was doing. That was probably the worst time with it I've had, 2 years last February. But what's interesting is that come the end of that year, things had completely turned around. I kind of made a whole new start on, and I restructured my life because I had friends around me and my family saying, you got to sort this out because you can't get to that low level you were at. And I don't mind admitting I'm still on medication, and I will continue to be until I'm 100%. I've made that error before of coming off medication too quick. And I don't think people talk enough about it. You're right. And it's a lot around it. I see it. I got nearly 5,000 friends on my Facebook now. I see people talking about it, which is good. But I don't think enough are. And within this pigeon community, it stands to reason that a portion of people are going to be suffering with it. And if me talking about it enables people to talk a bit more or reach out to me privately, that's absolutely fine. And that's actually seeing people on my timeline. I got this fucking moth because I've got a light on up there, and I've got windows open still because it's warm. Got moths coming in now. By the by, that's actually what made me decide to combine these 2 passions I've got, this Music is Life Foundation and pigeons, because ultimately flyers are some generous people, and we can combine the 2. And like I said in a video about it last week, I will get as much mainstream publicity about this auction as I possibly can. I will get as much mainstream as soon as the auction is done and we've raised whatever money we've raised. I'll get it out there into the mainstream media because, ultimately, mental health is a hot topic at the moment in the mainstream. We combine that with supporting the 4 charities I've mentioned, combined with this money actually came from people donating birds and people bidding on them. That's a great mix for a mainstream story. And trust me, I'll be all over it. Neil, I like the way you can openly talk about mental health. As you know, I'm a sufferer and I find it easier to talk. It's okay not to be okay. It's true. I wrote a book in 2013, which is kind of publicly the first time I ever really properly spoke about it. And I actually had one arsehole that had read my book, who I'd done business with years before while I was not in a good place. And they actually said, and I'm paraphrasing, but this is essentially kind of what they said. Well, if I'd have known like that, I would have never have done whatever I did with you or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. I never want to do business with you if you think like that, just because I was suffering from some depression at the time, and my mind wasn't quite right. If you wouldn't have done whatever deal it was we did at the time, then screw you, off you go, you know. And it's that. Now, would they have said that if I'd have broke your leg or I'd have broke my arm or whatever? No. But yeah, I think you got to talk about it openly, Neil, because that's the whole problem. And especially as men, like I said, you know, we don't talk about it. And if you're under 45, statistically, you're more the biggest killer, as I talked about before, the biggest killer of men under the age of 45 is suicide, which is fucked up and not a good statistic. I'm glad you're on still, Chris. You give me a thumbs up now from the app as well, which is Dave, we enjoy listening to your videos, mate. Very enjoyable. Thank you. Somebody likes them. That means a lot, mate. Thank you. I intend to be doing more as time goes on, and the more followers I get and the more my websites come together, you'll be seeing more of me. And like I said to somebody last week, if people don't like me talking or don't like me as a person for whatever reason, they just don't have to listen to me or follow me. And that's kind of the rule of it all now. It's funny that I had a big upsurge in trolls and haters when I first started this journey back into the game of pigeons. And it didn't bother me because I've had it for years for other stuff. Anything online you do and you're anyway revolutionary or visionary and you put yourself out there and stuff, I've had it before, so it doesn't bother me. But what bothered me was actually some of the crap these people were saying and inventing about me, and that did piss me off. But now it's it's a simple case of I really don't care. You either like me or you don't even have to like me. You like me or you are sometimes interested in what I'm doing, whether it be going around different places pigeon-wise or whatever. You either like that or watching it or you don't. And if you don't tune in or don't follow me. It's funny. I still probably got some trolls and haters that are actually friends with me on Facebook. I have no idea why you would be friends with somebody that you didn't like. You didn't like, let alone seeing what they're talking about. It blows my mind. But this is the world we live in these days. So yeah, what else is going on? So I've booked my hotel to go to Blackpool January, which is unbelievably forward thinking of me, because any time I've been to Blackpool before, it's normally 3 or 4 days before the actual event that I've gone and booked. But I've booked I'm going on the Friday. I'll be up there lunchtime Friday, and I'll be coming back Sunday night. And January will fly by until we get there. And I'm genuinely excited about between now and then and what's going on and what can happen. Shane, a problem shared is a problem halved. I think a lot of people suffer with it, don't want to be seen as weak. There's that weak thing. But again, and I completely get what you're saying, Shane. And I'll admit, in the early stages of it, there's a thing in the back of your mind thinking people think you are weak, especially when you kind of a little bit like I am in that, I'm quite public. Obviously, I've got businesses I run, and there's a worry that will negatively influence people in their perception of me or the business I do or whatever. But the harsh reality, what I've learned over the last 10 years or so, is that actually, if it does influence people's decision, they're not people I want to be dealing with anyway, like I said earlier. And the reality is, I think it actually makes people more empathetic and understanding of me and why I am sometimes like I am and why I do what I do. So, being seen as weak is a danger. It is a worry. It still is a worry. But it's quite a narrow-minded person's opinion if they see somebody as weak that admits they've got mental health, depression issues. And so I justify not caring by thinking, well, they're not really people I want to be around or associate with or do business with or generally be friends with. So it's just the way it is. And you're right, though, people do. Neil, pigeons are a big part of my recovery. Again, I can see it, Neil. I posted on Racing Pigeon International Chris Williams' coverage he got, TV coverage he got. And obviously for Chris, that's really helped. You know, pigeons, he said, saved his life. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to doing when I start keeping them again, and the reason I'm not keeping them at the moment is because I'm not decided whether we're moving house yet or not. We probably are going to, and that's when I shall start keeping them. But one of the big things what I can't wait to do, in addition to having my son involved and starting the journey, albeit it'll be a slow one, my vision of setting up a stud to compete in the one-off races, or whatever. The big thing that I'm looking forward to is being able to go and sit in a chair in the loft surrounded by the birds. Because when I was a kid, that's what I used to do. You know, before I went to school, used to go, feed them, come back, feed them, clean them out. And that was my little sanctuary. I'm really looking forward to having birds again. I did actually have birds 2015, 2016. I had a really nice 24-foot loft here. But then all the shit with my business kicked off and it caused bankruptcy and it was just a fucking nightmare. So I had to get rid of them. It was a bit of a false start, really. And if I'm really honest, I didn't really enjoy them that much because of all the other crap that was going on at the time. I had a relationship that broke down and whatever. But what I'm looking forward to now, because I'm in a hell of a lot better place mentally and everything than I was then, is going into the loft and spending time with the birds. So I can see how it'd be a big part of your recovery, mate. Try dimpleberry flavor in your vape mart. I've never tried it. But I will. I'm running out of vape liquid. What have I got? I've literally run out of that. That's called Hyzen Mango. You can't see it because the light's in the way. Hyzen Mango, that one I've just run out of literally just half an hour ago. I've got Bubblegum Fizz. I've been a vapor since people knew really what vaping was. Never smoked a cigarette in my life. I hate the smell of cigarettes. But and this one is Black Aniseed. They're the three I'm on at the moment. But and I just have ones with different flavors in, so I can keep it up. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I hate the things. Not a fan at all. But my weakness was cigars. And I've been vaping for the last 6 years, but I reached a point last year when things were particularly stressful that vaping just wasn't cutting it, and I went back onto cigars, and I'm smoking way too many cigars a day. I have to admit, I did have a couple of cigars early last week when I had to put my dog to sleep. But yeah, I've been vaping for 6 years plus, but I will note that name down, Dimpleberry flavor, and I'll try it, mate. Move to Wales, Chris says. I love Wales. Big fan of Wales. But I wouldn't move there, Chris, no offense, because although properties are a hell of a lot cheaper, I think, in Wales still than here. But I got my family here and my kids here, and I said in a video last week that ultimately one day I will go back to spending 6 months of the year here in the UK and 6 months of the year sitting in a sunnier climate on an island somewhere. That's my plan. And moving forward, I'm setting up the businesses to be able to do that long term with some big changes that would have to happen over a period of time. But my goal is, I hate the bad weather. I hate the cold. I love the UK in the summer when we get it. Like now, it's great. But I used to many years ago live in the Bahamas back in the day, and I'm not saying it would be the Bahamas. It may be the Bahamas again. It may be Cyprus, somewhere like that. I think Cyprus would be a great place to have a one-off race. Excuse me. When I was 18 years old, I had a vision of setting up a one-off race. This was when one-off races were just not common. I'd been to the South African one, and I'd been to the San Diego one, and Las Vegas one, and they weren't common. I had a vision of doing a one-off race in the Bahamas. It'd be a hell of a venue to do it. And I even went and I was invited over by Sir Freddie Laker. If you're young, you probably won't know who Sir Freddie Laker is. If you're older, then you probably will. Sir Freddie Laker single-handedly invented the low-cost travel market. He took on BA and the might of BA back in the 80s. And that Laker Air was the first low-cost airline. And cut a really long story short, my mentor at the time, he used to live in the Bahamas, was good friends with Sir Freddie Laker. And I was sitting in my mentor's office, who's a guy called Harry Dan. I wrote about him in my book. One of the best men I've ever met in my life. But he just called Sir Freddie up one afternoon and said, I got a guy here that I want you to meet. And 2.5 hours later, I was on one of Sir Freddie's planes flying over to Fort Lauderdale to meet him, and he picked me up in his Rolls Royce or Bentley or whichever it was, and I went and talked to him, and I actually had the meeting about, listen, Sir Freddie, I want to go and do this pigeon race based in the Bahamas. It's going to be great. I want your jets to fly the birds down to different islands. Are you in? And he was in. He was up for it. It didn't work at the time because I was 18 years old, and it was a big deal. But I've always had a vision of doing a one-off race in the Bahamas because it's such an amazing place. It'd be a tough race as well because of how the islands are all set up. But yeah, anyway, I don't even know how that got on. But yeah, I love Wales. My ex-wife and my eldest son are actually in Wales at the moment, Chris. And my youngest is here doing pigeon stuff with me. Dave Burrison. 3 years ago, my wife said to me, why don't you get a pair of pigeons, keep them in your son's treehouse, and now I have a 30-foot loft and about 90 pigeons. That's how it goes, mate? That's always how it goes. You can never have too many. You always end up more than you thought, and your lofts just get bigger and bigger. Yeah. I know I'm going to be like that. Where I'm looking potentially at moving to, it's got a 30-foot by 12-foot concrete built. It's essentially a garage at the moment, but it could be really nicely converted into a stock loft with individual breeding pens. And then the garden would be big enough to put some really good lofts in as well. We shall see. We shall see. See what happens. Well, I've had considering how late it is, I've had quite a few people tune in and listen to me talk crap, and actually some people have engaged with me, which is really good. Thank you. So I'm going to get off now soon, and because it's midnight and I still have at least 2 hours work to do before I can call it a night. I live and die by my to-do list. My to-do list starts big, long, the beginning of the day and goes down and down and down and down. I have 2 things left on my to-do list today, and I've had to knock a few things off that just were not going to get done, but it's important for me to get these done. I live and breathe by it. Literally everything I do goes on this to-do list. I've got it on my phone, I've got my computer, and so you'll often see me working late at night, and because I'm a night owl. I'm not a morning person. But I got a couple of things I got to do. So another couple of hours work to get done before it all starts again tomorrow. Stuart Bowman joined. Thank you, Stuart. I saw you. A friend requested me last week. I specifically looked at your name because I know somebody else called Stuart Bowman, and I was wondering if it was him, but it's not. So thank you for joining, listening to me talk a load of rubbish generally. And but thank you. So make sure you check out the video I did at Gary's yesterday. Like I said, if you want to see me get notified when I go live, you should see a little link button on this live feed to notify you when I'm live in the future, and it'll just pop up on your phone, Mark's live talking crap again, or not necessarily talking crap like this, but showing you around something interesting relating to pigeons or what have you. Like I said, Dublin a week on Saturday for Sean Hunt's Wild Atlantic Way one-off race final. Back at Gary Tomlinson's at the end of August, the 25th, the bank holiday, Sunday the 25th, for the final of the Who Dares Wins race. Probably or hopefully going to Belgium as well. If either August or September, not sure. Hopefully going to Belgium, August or September. October, end of October, going to Romania, all being well. China, November. May see if I can go down to the Algarve race at the end of September as well. I'm not sure if that'll happen. See if I can swing the time to do it. We'll see. And then we get into silly season Christmas, and then it's Blackpool for January. And then who knows where I'll be going next year. With how it is, how busy it's getting, who knows? I could be here, there, and bloody everywhere. And that's good, because I love it. And I'm lucky because my main business that I do, essentially all I need is my laptop and a mobile phone, and I can run that business from anywhere in the world. So that doesn't affect that. So pigeoning wise, I'm looking forward to the rest of the year, but I'm really looking forward to next year, because by then I'll be able to have my own lofts and we can start that. But now I'll have the sales and auction stuff going, and Racing Pigeon International and Racing Pigeon Network will be building, and 2020, here we come. But that's not wishing my life away. That's just looking forward to next year. But in the meantime, the rest of this year we've got, which is flying fast. It's going to be a busy old time. Carl Fox, thank you very much, mate. How far is the final at Sean's, Mark? That's a bloody good question, mate. I will tell you in a minute, if you can bear to watch me do it. I know where it's from. It's from Falaise. Is it from Falaise, or is that... no, it's not. It's from Valente. Falaise is Gary's one. Just give me a second and I'll tell you. 336 kilometers it is. So in real money, or our money, my money, that is 210 miles, Shane. 210 miles for Sean's race is the final. And yeah, so I looked at it on the map, actually. It's like right down in the southwest of Ireland, Shane. Valentia. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Valentia. 336 kilometers, 210 miles, to answer your question, Shane. Oh, excellent, Carl. You'll be there. I'm really looking forward to meeting a lot of people that I've spoken to or interacted with here on Facebook, but I haven't yet met. I think there'll be a lot of people there, and I'm looking forward to meeting them. I know there'll be a lot of people at Sean's, and I know then there'll be a lot of people at Gary's as well. He gets a couple hundred people there. So I do genuinely love meeting people that I may have spoke to or interacted with, but not yet met. So, yeah, good times. Right. I've spoken off for 50 minutes of this, and we've still got 10 people watching. Wow. And it's midnight. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you soon. Keep flying, keep it real, be lucky, keep going no matter what, and catch you soon. Thanks for watching, folks.